When DC released the first trailer for James Gunn's new Superman movie, it was pretty well received, or at least it wasn't outright hated. My reaction to it was pretty much like, it looks fine. There's obviously issues with it, and I think it looked a little bit busy for what they were going for in just a Superman movie, but I'm willing to give it a shot, and I think most people were kind of in that camp right there. You can see the official DC YouTube channel right here. The trailer has 1.1 million likes, 75,000 dislikes, and the trailer's been out for just a little under 2 weeks now. So I would say pretty well received, all things considered. But this is a movie that has a reported budget of $363 million. James Gunn has kind of denied this, but still, the reported budget being as high as it is, this is a movie that, if these rumors are true, would require Warner Brothers to have to make somewhere around $1 billion in order for it to be a success. And while I do think that is possible for a hit superhero movie like Superman, it's still a pretty tall bar to get over. And now we're getting these rumors coming out about test screenings that really aren't sounding too good for it. James Gunn's Superman reportedly hit with negative reactions at test screenings. The DCEU's new Superman reboot will reportedly make you believe a man can fly again, but if the rumors are true about James Gunn's new movie, he'll be flopping back down to Earth very quickly. The film is set 7 months away from the release, but one insider claims that things are already looking bad for old Supes. And I do think it is fair to point out, because I've talked about this in the past when it comes to test audiences and test screenings of movies, a lot of the times test screenings are what they say. They're just testing out certain things for audiences. Maybe the studio is thinking about including something in the movie, but they're not sure about it. They don't think it'll work, but they're like, well, maybe an audience will actually like it. So let's just see what an audience reacts to it. If it's bad, then they'll be like, okay, well, this just kind of confirms what we thought about this. So we'll axe that element from this movie. But if it's good, they're like, oh, I guess that proved us wrong, so let's include this in it. That's kind of how test screenings work. So if you hear about a test screening for a movie being bad, that doesn't necessarily mean the final result is going to be bad. But I do think it is fair to point out that if the test audiences really like this movie, well, then that's something that the studio would be kind of touting and holding up, being like, oh yeah, see, test audiences are loving this movie, so get excited because this is going to be something that general audiences are going to love. And also, this rumors about these test audiences, it's also wishy-washy whether or not these actually took place. James Gunn has kind of denied this, and I'll get to more of that in the article, basically saying that it's not, they didn't hold any public test screenings of it, but you also have to keep in mind public test screenings are different than if you're just holding a test screening for employees at Warner Brothers Studios, because even if it's employees who work at the company but aren't necessarily involved with the movie itself, a lot of times they will screen it for them, or even just screen it for people inside the entertainment industry or inside the movie industry, just people from other studios. They can even get like other directors and stuff and bring them in for a test screening of this. So we don't know what actually happened with this one particularly. All we know is about these rumors saying that the test screenings that they had, whatever kind that they did have, were not good for it. According to Hollywood Insider Jeff Snyder, the first test screenings for James Gunn's Superman has already taken place, and there are far from positive reactions. The DCU desperately needs to get off the ground. The buzz is not good. I'm hearing bad things, Snyder said on his podcast, The Hot Mic. Not only are the first reactions reportedly bad, they're franchise killing bad. I'm hearing you should be worried things. And that is because since this is the first James Gunn movie out of the gate in his version of the DCEU, this needs to be a big hit, considering especially how much money they're actually spending on it, because James Gunn was brought in to take over as the creative voice for DC from Zack Snyder, because he didn't really do what they wanted him to do. James Gunn was brought in to direct the sequel to Suicide Squad, and that went over pretty well. So I think the executives at Warner Brothers and DC were like, okay, I guess we'll give this to you now and see what you can do. And this is his first shot of it. And with how much money they're spending on it, if it's not a hit, then I think that would pretty much tank things moving forward, or at least really sour him, because the executives at Warner Brothers are, I think, giving James Gunn a lot of leeway on what he can and cannot do with this. So if this is just a smash hit, makes billions of dollars for them, then I think James Gunn will be given free reign to kind of do whatever he wants. If it's just like, mediocre hit, maybe it makes some money, but it's not really great. Maybe the executives moving forward will start getting a little bit more involved with James Gunn's vision of the DCEU. And if this movie does turn out to be a flop, then I think the executives over at Warner Brothers will be looking to try to find a way to replace James Gunn. So this is something that he really needs to have be a success, and that's why he'll do whatever he can to try to defend it. Snyder went on to say that James Gunn is aware of some of the feedback. The report comes just weeks after Gunn announced Superman is heading back to set for some additional photography. While many were quick to label the reshoots as worrisome, Gunn explained they were pickup shots rather than full-on reshoots. However, Snyder still suggests there are plenty of reasons to be nervous. And this is kind of unusual for James Gunn because he doesn't like to do reshoots or anything like that. That's why people are saying it's worrisome if he's doing reshoots, because for other studios and for other directors, that's just kind of par for the course. This is a little bit unusual for James Gunn, but it's been reported, though, that the reshoots that they were doing is only going to be a couple days. So I don't think that's going to be any like major changes, not like we saw with the new Captain America movie, where they went through months and months of reshoots on that on several different occasions. So because they were basically reshooting the whole movie, it doesn't look like that's what they're doing with this. But again, the whole reports about it only just being a couple days is pretty much coming from the studio level. So maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter. We really just don't know about it. All we know is that some reshoots, whether or not they're actual major ones or just pickup shots, did occur. It is important to remember that the report is purely speculative, and that's basically the report about the reaction to the movie being negative. Nothing has been confirmed by DC Studios, Warner Brothers, or Gunn, and knowing Gunn, the director could come out and publicly address the rumors on social media as he has done so many times in the past. Jeff Snyder has a decent track record as a Hollywood scooper and has broken some major stories. However, like all scoopers, he has also been wrong a lot. While Snyder claims Superman is already in trouble, and that's without Lex Luthor hunting him down. Another insider source claimed that the test screenings have been entirely falsified. According to journalist Matissa Lertora, no test screenings have actually taken place. There have been no test screenings for Superman recently, they wrote. Their scoop comes from an excellent source. According to Lertora, they rounded out their post by suggesting audiences take all inside scoops with a heavy grain of salt. Don't believe anything you read. The reactions to Superman's test screenings may be speculative, but the reaction to the film's first official trailer are concrete. The trailer has already broken a YouTube record for DC Studios, accumulating over 22.6 million views in the first 24 hours. Many were delighted by the trailer, saying Corn Sweat looks amazing in the super suit. Meanwhile, others, mostly Zack Snyder fans, still cannot get over Henry Cavill's departure from the role. And I think that is kind of fair. We don't know about the reactions behind the scenes, but we do know the reaction to the actual trailer. And like I said, it was generally positive with some reservations, but there's really not a whole lot of people outside of the Zack Snyder fan base who are just saying, this looks awful, don't want to see this sort of thing. I mean, maybe there's more people out there like that who say this looks awful, but like I said, the sentiment for the trailer was pretty positive, all things considered, and kind of talked about what I felt about when it comes to test audiences, because even if it does turn out that these test screenings were true and that they're negative, that doesn't necessarily mean that the movie is going to be bad. But like I said, if they did have test screenings in whatever form they took and they were positive, then I do think it is fair to say that Warner Brothers and DC would be kind of broadcasting that to everyone to make it seem like that their movie is doing a lot better. But I don't know what to really make about all this, whether or not they're true. I think there were some screenings of this that did occur. Maybe not what they would consider official test screenings, maybe just screenings for executives at Warner Brothers, and they had some issues with it, so they're going to try to rework it in the edit. Maybe not issues that takes a lot of reshoots, but just something that they can fix in the edit and then try again later on. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see when more word comes out about it, because James Gunn, like I said, the only thing he's really said about it is that they've had no official test screening. So since he's kind of wishy-washy on that, the language he uses, it's kind of subjective. So it's just a matter of whether he considers it an official test screening or not, or whether it was just a screening for executives and they weren't happy with this. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think that these test screenings actually occurred, and do you think they were negative for it? And do you actually think that that matters in the grand scheme of things, or do you think it's still early enough where it can be fixed if there were issues with it at those early stages right now? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.